Okay, good morning, friends. This is Ronald Chevlin. Um, um, I'll be taking you through quantitative methods with Madame Nantongo Monica and Mr. Mubiru Godfrey. Yeah, um, by now you know that we had earlier planned to have our lecture on Monday, a live session, and because of some challenges, mainly with the timing, we failed to get a time when we are all free. So I decided to have this recorded today as we plan for the future. Yeah, because we can't surely be missing lectures day in day out because of failure to get a time when we are all free. So today I'm going to talk about sampling. Sampling sampling as an important aspect in quantitative methods. In the introduction, Mr. Mubiru talked about how the quantitative procedure, what we do with quantitative data, etc. And one of the things he hinted on was data, the essence of data. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about sampling, the techniques we use while sampling, what sampling is all about. Yep. Yeah, so let's first understand the difference between a population and a sample. Yeah, okay. So here we'll have a full description of the population and sampling techniques used to select the sample. Okay, for quantitative studies, like the one we are going to have, the selection comes from probability sampling techniques. But before going further to the techniques, we need to understand the difference between a sample and a population. Okay, so a population is a group of elements which have observable characteristics. Okay, so a group of elements which have an observable or which have a similar observable characteristics. Okay, for instance, a full class of procurement and logistics management is a population. Why? It's made up of students who have something in common, and that something is being BPLM students. That's a population. It's a group of elements which have similar characteristics. That's what we call a population. I know you have several other definitions of a population based on what you had in SST, geography, etc. But in CHOEM, we are going to look at a population as a group of those elements with similar characteristics. Okay. All right. Then what's a sample? So you understand that at times this population is made up of very many elements. Yeah, which makes it hard for a person to get information from all those elements. Recall in the QM or in quantitative methods, we'll be looking at data. Yeah, so the population and the sample comes in when we are collecting data. We need information. Data is information. Yeah, we need information about something together, and we can only get that information from people together or from elements. Okay, and we say the group of elements with a similar characteristics is what we call a population. Yeah, I've given you an example of BPLM students or BBS students. As a group, they make a population. Are we together? Okay, so example, I said if I want information, let's say I'm interested in knowing if attending classes has any effect on performance of students. Okay, then I will need to go out to students and I interact with them. I get information from them. Okay, but we know at times it's not easy. Yeah, to get information, it's a bit expensive. Looking out for over 400 BBS students, 400 BPLM students. Yeah, to inquire how to get information from them. So the easiest way is to pick a part of that group, and that's what we call a sample. A sample is part of a population, or it's a subset of a population, if I may say. Okay, so if you're 400 in BBA, you're 400 in BPM, you're 400 in BEP, etc., and I want to pick out part of you to study, that's what we call a sample. And we've said we need a sample because we don't have time to do the entire population or to get information from the entire population. it's expensive to get information from the entire population. Imagine interacting with 400 students, asking them about, maybe I have questions surrounding attending classes and performance. It will be a bit hectic and expensive. So I pick out part of that class, and that will be my sample. So the relevance of a sample is to draw conclusion on the entire big group. If I study that part of the class, then I can draw conclusions on the entire class. Most of you cook and you use sampling a lot. Yeah, if you want to test whether you put enough salt in food, yeah, you get 1 spoon. You scoop out, maybe a spoon based on how good you are testing. So if you scoop out, yeah, that scoop you've gotten is what we call a sample in this case. If you find that there's enough salt in that spoon, yeah, or scoop, then you can draw conclusion that the entire food is having enough salt. If it's meat, you want to see if meat is ready, you pick out 1 piece. Yeah, so if that piece is ready, then you can conclude that the entire saucepan or the entire meat is ready. That's the normal realistic sample you've ever done. Yeah, because I know most of you cook, many of the ladies, and you do sampling each and every time. But of course, the issue with our sampling here is it's very, very vital to determine a sample size which is a representative of the population. The sample size is the number of elements you're picking from a population. Okay, if you are 100 in a class, how big should the sample be? Yeah, like I said, I'm going to pick out part of it to represent the entire class. How many should I pick? Okay, there are some formulas we use in that case to decide how many people to sample out to represent an entire population. Okay, there are formulas, the Yamane formula, there are tables which determine or which help us to determine the sample size. You'll find out that for a population which is as big as 100, you may need, or you need a sample of 80 using the Yamane formula and other formulas. Yeah. So if you're 100, the rightful sample will be 80 for a quantitative study or for quantitative data. Meaning you're 100 in class, I have to pick out 80 to represent the entire class. Okay. So you can go on and read and then look at the table and you see if the population is 200, what is the rightful sample, and so on and so forth. But our main interest today is in how you pick out all the techniques you use to select the 80 from 100. Assuming we've determined that we need 80 people, we need 80 students out of the BBA class of 100 students. But another issue is, how do I determine the 80? Okay, how do I determine who should be part of the 80? Remember, I need only 80 out of 100. So I need to use a technique to pick out those 80 elements or 80 students. Okay, listening to this, you can go on to even read through the notes and always ask where you don't understood. We can always share. Yeah, I'll create a chat room whereby we can share about this presentation. Yeah, you could be having some questions you need to ask about this, please ask them. Yeah, and soon we'll be having a live session where you can always bring out those questions. Yeah, for the meantime, we are going to be using this method because of the technical issues we're having, network issues, etc. Yeah, I don't want us to lose out. Okay, so please, in case you have any question, we'll be having a session where we'll ask the questions. Yeah, we can use the chat room or any other means, yeah, to get to you. All right, so thank you very much.